Sophy Romvari. Before I open it up to audience questions, I thought I would ask Sophy a few questions. So you have done many short films. What was the spark behind making this your feature film debut?
Hi everyone, thanks for coming. Yeah, so I did make many short films, maybe more than is normal. But I just really didn't want to make a feature until I felt really ready to make a feature. And I think I didn't want to have a short that I stretched into a feature, so I just waited until I had an idea that felt like it had the weight of because to make a feature is a really insane endeavor. So I didn't want to do it until I felt like I had something that really was worth everyone's time and my own time and years of dedication. So yeah, I think I just waited until it felt like I had the material, and then I worked on the script for quite a while, and I approached it differently than the shorts, because the shorts were a lot more spontaneous, and this was a lot more intentional and scripted and thought through in a way that didn't leave as much room for fix it in post. Like we knew what we were doing going into the film. So yeah.
You did a lot of beautiful things about memory and how it stretches, and I've read that you also journaled during the filming of this. So what was your intention with writing the journals during the filming and the overall memory element of the film?
Yeah, I forgot I wrote that publicly. Yeah, so I journal. I think a lot of my films have been around memory and around trying to uncover or justify, maybe, I don't know if that's the right word, but like, you know how sometimes you have a memory and you're not sure if it's real. So I think a lot of my films have been sort of a way to acknowledge things that have happened in my life and accept and acknowledge them. But I also think I really do struggle, I think, with memory. Like a lot of the writing of this film, I realized a lot of the things I thought were memories were maybe just conversations I had or speaking to my parents. There was many things I wrote in the script that I wasn't sure if they actually were real or not, and then they explained what actually had happened, and it was far different than what I had recalled. So there's just a lot of blending of memory and fiction that already happens in my own life. So it kind of naturally lends itself to the style of the film. But so in terms of the journaling, yeah, I decided to journal every day of production, which it also can be crazy because it's like the busiest thing you'll ever do. But I was really worried about forgetting like what it felt like to make a film. So I really wanted to journal every night. So I just did one page every day. And I was also reading this very like famous book, Cassavetes on Cassavetes, which is like all of his films he wrote about and was interviewed about. So it was just a really like inspiring way to go into each day. So that was my like method, I guess. Yeah.
And then I'd love to know what it was like working with the cast, especially the Sashas and your Jeremy.
Yeah, the cast was a very special casting process and very long one. We had like over a year. We had cast Elul, who plays Sasha, first, about a year before anyone else, and she was 8 years old at the time, and this is her first film, and many people's first film, many of the crew as well, first film. And I just knew from her audition that she actually just is genuinely talented. She's a great actor. Like she's a rambunctious, like silly kid, but then as soon as she's on set, or as soon as the camera's rolling, she's in character, and then she's back to being a silly kid. So she's acting. It's not just like we're capturing her being herself. Like she's really actually quite exceptional. And then Amy, who plays the adult Sasha, also very talented, intelligent writer herself, and we kind of had an interesting casting process because she was playing this character that did have some improvisation with the real social workers that are in the film. So this was kind of a combination effort. So Ryan Bobkin, one of my producers, saw her performing a monologue in New York at an event and sent her IMDb to me, and I looked at it and realized I'd seen her in a short film years ago, and then I loved that short film, and I loved that filmmaker, Indy Donaldson, who made a film called Good One years later. And then in order to audition her, my other producer, Sarah Wiley, Zoomed her and played a social worker, and Amy played a filmmaker and essentially played me, and that was her audition. So that's how we cast her. And it was kind of creepy, like actually. She just was like, she was like, yeah, my parents immigrated from Hungary, and da-da-da. So she was just playing me, and so that's kind of how she got the part. But she's also just like a phenomenal, open-hearted person. And then Jeremy, was actually street cast and had never acted and had never even thought about it. So he was truly like, I just had a feeling about him. And when I interviewed him, he just really connected to the role and is an immigrant himself from Kyrgyzstan. And many of the actors in the film are immigrants, and so it was from very different places. So it was really a patchwork casting process, yeah.
Oh my God, that's incredible that he was street cast. What would have happened if he didn't say yes?
Or what would have happened if he sucked? But he was great. So yeah, it was a risk. It was a risk. But to be honest, so much of the casting process is like making those decisions, and that's when so much of the work is done with the actors. And with him, I didn't do any like performance rehearsal. I would just build trust with him, basically. So we would meet in the park like once or twice a week, and I would just slowly start to build trust with him so he would understand my intentions, and then I would slowly start to bring my camera to the meetings and start to record him and like ask him questions on camera and like just build actual trust, and then one at a time introduced each cast member to each other to build their relationship. So we didn't do any like dialogue rehearsal at all. Even like the big dialogue scenes that you see in the film, they were not overly rehearsed. We spent one day shooting the social work visit scene with Sasha and the parents, where we just treated it like a play and we just ran it again and again and again, because we didn't want to like over rehearse before getting to set and then have them be like burnt out on it. And yeah, I don't know, it was all guesswork. I didn't know it was gonna work, but yeah, that's just my process, I guess.